I learned very quickly that saving an alien queen's life came with complications no one warned you about in basic training. My name is Lieutenant Aaron Pike, 3rd Human Expeditionary Fleet, and up until 6 months ago, my biggest concern was whether my boots would survive another boarding action. I never imagined I'd be standing in a crystalline throne hall on a world orbiting a blue giant star, trying not to choke on recycled air while the most powerful ruler in this sector of the galaxy calmly proposed something that would have caused a diplomatic incident just by being suggested. The hall was silent when Queen Zyra finished speaking. Her words echoed through the translator in my ear, smooth and perfectly clear. "Not just me, human," she said, her luminous eyes fixed on mine. "By the laws of the Velician crown, you must also marry my sisters." I was pretty sure my face had stopped working. "I'm sorry," I managed. "Your Majesty, I think there's been a mistranslation." "There has not," she replied calmly. Around us, Velician nobles, tall, elegant beings with opalescent skin and flowing crests, watched with open fascination. None looked shocked. If anything, they looked expectant. This was very bad. It hadn't started that way. 6 months earlier, the Velician homeworld of Lythra had been under siege by the Coran Devourers, a hive species that stripped planets bare. The Velicians were advanced far beyond humanity in biotech and energy manipulation, but they had one fatal weakness. They avoided violence. Humans did not. Our fleet arrived as part of a coalition response, expecting to evacuate survivors. Instead, we found ourselves thrown straight into a last-stand defense. Velician shields were failing, their capital city already burning. That's when I met Queen Zyra. Her transport had been hit during an evacuation run. I was part of the boarding team that reached it just before the Devourers breached the hull. Inside, chaos reigned, guards dead, systems failing, fire spreading through living corridors. I found her pinned beneath a collapsed biosupport beam, bleeding violet blood, still issuing commands through pain that would have broken most species. "Leave me," she ordered when she saw me. "Save my people." "Yeah, no," I replied, slamming my shoulder under the beam. The beam crushed my armor servos and shattered my shoulder, but it moved enough. I dragged her out, shielding her with my own body as Devourer plasma burned into my back. I didn't remember much after that. I woke up days later in a medical bay, heavily bandaged, told the Velician queen had survived. I thought that was the end of it. Apparently, it was the beginning. After the war, Velician diplomats requested me specifically. No explanation. No room for refusal. The coalition assumed it was ceremonial, medals, honors, maybe a commendation. That was how I ended up standing before Queen Zyra in her restored capital, listening as ancient law was read aloud by a priest with a voice like chiming glass. By the covenant of the living throne, one who shields the queen with their own flesh, unbound by oath or contract, becomes royal consort by deed, the priest intoned. My stomach dropped. Zyra stepped forward, her expression unreadable. "You saved my life," she said. "You did so knowing you would likely die. Under Velician law, such an act binds you to the crown." "I didn't do it for a reward," I said quickly. "I know," she replied softly. "That is why the law applies." I took a breath. "Even so, I'm not sure." "Then you must hear the rest," she interrupted. That's when she said it. "Not just me, human. Marry my sister as well." My brain stalled completely. Sister, I croaked. As in, plural? She nodded once. 2. I laughed. It came out hysterical. Your Majesty, with all due respect, this is insane. A ripple of confusion passed through the court. Explain, Zyra said. In human culture, I said carefully, marriage is between two people. Usually. Sometimes with paperwork and lawyers. She tilted her head. Then your culture is inefficient. That earned a few amused clicks from the nobles. Zyra raised a hand, silencing them. Aaron Pike, you misunderstand. This is not indulgence. It is stability. She gestured, and two figures stepped forward from the shadows. They were unmistakably related to her, same luminous eyes, same regal bearing, but each was different. One carried herself like a warrior, scars tracing her arms. The other had softer features, her gaze sharp with intelligence rather than force. My sisters, Zyra said. General Celis and Scholar Nyreth. They studied me with unsettling intensity. In Valician governance, Zyra continued, the crown is balanced between three aspects. Rule. Defense. Wisdom. A consort bound to one must be bound to all, or imbalance follows. I stared. You're telling me this is constitutional? Yes, Nyreth said, stepping forward. Our history is filled with examples of singular bonds destabilizing the crown. Celis crossed her arms. Also, you already impressed me, she added bluntly. Most males faint when they meet Zyra. That's not reassuring, I muttered. The next days were a blur of explanations, negotiations, and quiet conversations. I learned the Valicians didn't view marriage as ownership or romance first, it was trust, alliance, shared burden. Love could come later. Or not. The bond still mattered. They also made something very clear. I could refuse. No threats. No punishment. But refusal meant severing a bond already recognized by their people. It would weaken Zyra's authority at a critical time. I lay awake that night in guest quarters overlooking a city rebuilding itself from ashes. I thought of Earth, of humans constantly fighting among themselves, drawing lines that weakened us. I thought of a queen who'd faced death with dignity, of sisters who governed without jealousy, of a species willing to bind power to sacrifice. In the morning, I asked to see them again. The throne hall was quieter this time. I won't pretend this doesn't terrify me, I said honestly. But I didn't save your life to walk away when things got complicated. Zyra's eyes softened. I will not cage you, human, she said. Nor will my sisters. Celis smirked. But if you hurt her, I will break you. Fair, I said. Nyreth inclined her head. Your honesty suggests compatibility. I took a breath. I'll accept the bond. Not as a trophy. As a partner. The hall erupted, not in shock, but approval. Years later, historians would argue about the moment humanity truly became indispensable to the galaxy. Some would say it was the war. Others would say it was technology. But among the Valicians, the answer was simple. It was the day a human looked at an impossible tradition, an alien queen, and two equally formidable sisters. And chose responsibility over fear. And somehow, against all odds, made it work.